Hello, everyone. This is Devin Thorpe for the CrowdFundBeat, and we've got a great guest today. We're lucky to have with us Chris Fay of Jumpstart City, a new crowdfunding site. Chris, thank you very much for joining me.
Devin, thank you very much for having me.
We're glad to have you. So please tell us a little bit more about Jumpstart City.
Well, let me flash the brand for a second here. Jumpstart City. It was actually created by Mark Baker and Billy Smith. We teamed up with them to help really promote the brand, and we're really getting behind that just now. But one of the interesting things about Jumpstart City was the premise that you have to get ready to be into crowdfunding. So instead of just signing up and saying I'm on a crowdfunding site, we really divided it up into three things. There's a great video at jumpstartcity.com that explains how it works. So there's three phases. The first one is the elevator stage, which really kind of gets you ready to get your act together to be in the crowdfunding stage. Get your video, get your pieces, your text, etc., get organized. And then secondly, the promotion stage. And what the promotion stage does is start to promote to a community of people that we have already involved in the Jumpstart community, who you essentially are promoting your brand, your project, your cause to, and who actually vote to say this looks like this has got some substance. So you might say it's in a way democracy at its best, where you get to test out, fine-tune your pitch, because when you finally do go to the active stage, what you want to have are a bunch of people that are believers in your cause, and at that point, when you have enough votes, you then launch into your crowdfunding campaign. And I think that's one of the major differences, but I think it's really also there to help you get your crowdfunding project organized and then properly promoted, so as you drop your crowdfunding program into the mix, meaning getting your circle of friends, your network connections to pay attention, and then getting them to tell others, as we've talked before. I think it's the three-step process that is really most effective.
Well, it is vitally important to get people prepared well, and creating a strategic way to help people do that makes perfect sense. So how did this come about? What drew you to this project?
Well, I've been involved in building companies, building brands. I have several companies. Eagle Strategy Partners is kind of my own brand consulting company, and we've recognized crowdfunding is going to be a very big deal, both for business causes and projects as well as social causes and projects. And we thought it would be great to get involved with our own site so that we could help promote it. We think the Jumpstart City, the brand, there's the brand again, the Jumpstart City brand, is a cool name, and we hope that one day this could be replicating itself to cities where they might use Jumpstart City to help creators in their own local markets create and project sponsors within their own community. So we kind of saw the whole play in it, but Billy Smith and Mark Baker were the creators. We just joined forces with them, and I'm now the president of Jumpstart City.
So I got the impression from looking at the site that the idea is to create a community much like you'd have in a city.
Absolutely, and there's also some ways where the promoters within the city can receive some special deals from the project organizers. So you're not just saying, vote for me, you're saying if you get behind this and help us get organized, there's some bells and whistles for you as promoters. So it really helps organize your first stage of people who have seen a lot of projects and causes, really help you shape up your act. And then ultimately some of those promoters can go on to get discounts on the projects that they help promote. So it's really kind of an ecosystem, you will, the capitalist system at work, where the people who were involved actually get some compensation.
Tell me about some of the projects that are on Jumpstart City now.
Well, about 50 projects have gone through so far. Again, it's still early, but we think we're working some of the bugs out. Very excited about it. About 50 projects have gone through. Most last one was T-Bolt. But we have two new projects that we're going to launch sequentially. One of the first ones that I'm really excited about, which is along your lines of thinking, is let's call it a social cause, and the purpose is to help prevent violent victimizations. 2 million people a year are the victims of some kind of a victimization, let's say. It's robberies, it's break-ins, it's carjackings, it's stabbings, it's somebody, these new people that come up and punch you in the head, they don't even know who you are. So we came up with, is there some kind of a brand that could be developed? We developed this with some others inside our group. And we came out with the concept that if we could come up with a brand that kind of warns people, hey, stay away from me because I'm not going to go down easy. And it doesn't mean that you carry a gun. It doesn't mean that you don't know karate or jiu-jitsu or something else, but you're not going down easy. So we created this, I think, really cool brand that's called Armed Red. And Armed Red's website's going to go up next week, and it's really, as you can see, it's kind of a brand or a logo that talks about, it kind of puts doubt in a criminal's mind. If somebody has bad intentions, we're thinking if they happen to see the brand of Armed Red on somebody, it really sends a signal, which will take a while for the bad guys to all get this. But you know, we're going to launch a line of T-shirts and hats and car decals and yard signs that essentially is saying Armed Red, you know, don't be a victim. So sorry about it, I don't have that prop very well handled there.
That's right. No, that's great.
Like creating the Nike swoosh, and you know what that stands for, or some great brand. So we think Armed Red has a great potential there. What we also are going to do is to donate some of the profits from Armed Red back to anti-violent victimization causes, because everybody looks for something you could do. The most important thing you can do is help your friend, your neighbor, your family member not be one of these 2 million people a year who are somehow a victim of violent victimization. So we think that's going to be great. We just actually showed this to some folks for the first time up in Milwaukee last Friday, and a lot of excitement around this. A long way to go, but we think one day you'll see Armed Red in the retail establishments, the web resellers, people that are into social causes. Obviously, we're targeting people that are of all walks of life. It's not just a conservative or a gun owner. It's for somebody to put a sign on their car, their home, their body that says, "Don't mess with me. Think of, move on." And studies have shown that bad guys, if they think that somebody's a threat, they'll move on. So we think that can be a great social cause, preventing violence, and we think it can also be a cause where we can contribute back to this movement of anti-violent victimization.
It is it's so dehumanizing to be a victim of crime, especially violent crime, and so to have some way to discourage that is really great. So I appreciate that. Are there any other projects that you want to tell us about?
Another one that I'll share with you right here. Let me see if I can get that adjusted correctly. This is a project that we're launching. It's called Blood Tests at Home, and I'm really excited about this one. This is not a brand that's available yet, but this is the kind of what the retail box will look like. It's going to launch in thousands of drugstores later this year. We're taking it through the FDA 510K process, which is to get the FDA to recognize, that's just a mock-up there, I might say, of when we get an FDA approval or clearance or whatever. But again, this is a brand, Blood Test at Home. The cause behind this is that 1.5 million people have heart attacks and strokes every year in this country. 1.5 million people. We all know somebody that's had a heart attack or a stroke.
Yeah.
In effect, what happens, half of those people had normal cholesterol or below. So your doctor told you you have normal cholesterol and you had a heart attack, you'd probably wonder what's the disconnect, right?
Right.
Everybody that's watching this show should go tell their friends and family this fact. And what it is that the standard cholesterol test actually is a very poor marker for heart attack or stroke risk. What we've added, and by the way, this is now available for employers, Blood Test at Home. This is an employer package where they would pass these out at work. It's a finger stick blood test. You don't have to get a venipuncture. You don't have to go to your doctor to get a prescription, then go to the lab to go spend hours and days and then wait for weeks and have somebody say, you're normal. This is to identify risk of the people that may be most susceptible to a heart attack or stroke. Very inexpensive, hassle-free, painless. It's a finger stick. A couple of drops of blood. Boom. We have a CLIA lab that does the results. We post your results in just a couple of days. So
so you take the drops of blood, you put it on some sort of a receptacle that you then mail in and then get the results.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and what is in here is just a little kit, and inside the kit there's a little finger stick cartridge. You prick your fingers, painless. Almost absolutely painless. And you can sit at your dining room table and do this and collect 4 drops of blood on a card. You put that in an envelope, mail it to us, and then the next thing you're going to get results posted online. If something is wrong, something has shown up as out of normal ranges, you're going to be contacted to say you need to follow up with your doctor. This is not intended to diagnose, treat any symptoms, or take the place of a physician. That's why we're doing this as a screening tool for employers now, wellness vendors now, and eventually it'll be in the retail market and through our website, Blood Tests at Home. We're going to launch this on Jumpstart City as soon as we get the retail portion of this approved through our FDA process, which we have to wait until they give us that clearance. So what's exciting about this is, as you can see, I'm passionate about a couple of things that have some causes to them. You know, our goal is to imagine this, Devin. Can you imagine a world without heart attacks and strokes? Just imagine. Yeah. Would that be cool or what?
That would be cool. Let's do that.
I'm getting goosebumps saying that because this is real, and we can do this. And I thank you and your show for giving us the opportunity to share this. And the crowdfunding site gives us the opportunity to launch this. And if I have time to tell you one more that's going to be coming out.
Oh, please do. Sure, if you got another one.
There's another big headline that you've seen in the paper which talked about 4.1% of the people who were on death row, 4.1%, are innocent. 4.1% are innocent, and they actually lack the resources to present the information to get them out. So we're going to launch a project called Innocence America. InnocenceAmerica.com is just a splash page. You'll see it launch on Jumpstart City, and the purpose being to help those who don't have the resources who are innocent. Okay, I'm not talking about people who are guilty. If you're guilty, you know, you get what you got. But people who are innocent that were maybe denied their constitutional rights in some way but didn't have the resources to get proper representation happens all the time. So if there's a couple of million people incarcerated today, and if 4% of them are innocent, think about the numbers of people, hundreds of thousands of people, who actually are innocent. If that were you or me, and you know, hey, that comes close. So
it's a huge problem, and no one in our society wants to believe that there are innocent people in prison, especially on death row, and yet clearly there are. And that means, by implication, that clearly we've been executing people who were innocent of the crimes they were convicted of, and having an opportunity to right that wrong before it happens, before we execute people, is really a tremendous service to especially those who are, as you say, genuinely innocent.
Well, and there's another project, it's called Project Innocence, or the Innocence Project, which I give Barry Schechter a lot of credit for doing that. They only do DNA cases. The majority of people who are in, you know, got themselves in whatever predicament they're in, and the judicial system says, hey, look, you know, here's the case. Either you take, you know, we're going to sentence you to, 50 years in prison, or you plead guilty and you'll take 10 and you'll be out in 5. That happens all the time. I didn't know this until somebody informed me of this problem, and I said, well, somebody ought to do something about that. So later this year, you'll see InnocenceAmerica.com launch crowdfunding site, raise some money, hire some people to help people who are clearly innocent and have been denied their constitutional rights. Only those people. And we think that that's going to be a great cause too. So I'm with it as much as you are, and using crowdfunding for social good. And as I said, Armed Red, has an anti-victimization piece of it. Blood Tests at Home has this wonderful opportunity to reduce the amount of heart attacks and strokes that are happening in this country, as well as other tests that we do for other conditions like cortisol levels for inflammation, C-reactive protein, a number of things that you might not know about, but you should be able to get, and you'll be able to get it at our website, Blood Tests at Home, when we actually turn that key on, following some of the processes we're going through with the FDA right now.
No, that's fantastic. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining me today. It's just been a pleasure to have you, to meet you. And again, all of this, people can engage with Jumpstart City at jumpstartcity.com, right?
That's correct. And if they want to contact us for any reason, just go to that contact at Jumpstart City. Eventually they cycle to me, and I'm happy to get back to anybody who has questions, opportunities. You got a great cause. We can also help promote it. We've got great people like Casey Harry, and you remember the last cause we did, with Mohammed Asim, actually coordinated for his brother-in-law in Pakistan, which raised 150. We didn't do this on Jumpstart City, but we helped him in the process.
Yeah.
$156,000 in 56 days, and brought his brother-in-law into a hospital, Mass General, and he's actually recuperating very nicely right now.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad that worked out. Well, Chris, again, thank you very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much, Devin.
All righty, let's do some good.